Well, hello and welcome to all of our viewers around the world. I'm Fiona Langsharp, IBCLC Director of Communications and MC here at Gold Learning. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I'm so fortunate to be sitting down with one of our very special guest presenters here at Gold Neonatal. And welcome to Justine Parsons. It's so great to have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's lovely to have you here. You are going to be speaking on a very, I feel like it's a topic that doesn't get enough airtime, should we say, or enough voice, but it's something I feel that people are starting to get excited about. They're wanting to know more. They're wanting to understand the concept. So you're going to be talking about sustainability in the NICU. How green can we be? So as we dive into this topic, I certainly have some questions for you, Justine. So I'm definitely gonna get in those. But why don't you tell folks where you are in the world and kind of what your role is right now?
Okay. So currently I am the excuse me, clinical nurse consultant in the NICU at John Hunter Children's Hospital, which is in Newcastle, New South Wales, Australia. So we are about 2 hours north of Sydney. So most people will know where Sydney is. So we're a metropolitan area, a bit north of there. So my particular NICU is a 44-bed intensive care unit, and we have about 1,400 admissions a year.
Mm,
And naturally, we as an intensive care are a carbon hotspot.
mm,
So within healthcare, we use quite a lot of single-use items. We use a lot of electricity, a lot of water, a lot of pharmaceuticals. So we have a fairly large waste bill. So I
wow.
guess that's kind of where I came from in thinking about just the sheer volume of waste that we were putting out. That's kind of what got me interested in the first place, was mainly around waste management. So looking at recycling and whether or not there were better ways of doing all of that and reducing the amount of waste that was coming out of the intensive care unit. So from there, I sort of got interested in all things sustainability as a result.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. I have to say, and just to be honest with you, it's not something I've thought about very much. And
You'd be
so
surprised how often I hear that. Yeah.
And so I'm just being honest because,
Mm,
but it totally makes sense. And I'm just having those aha moments as we're speaking. Oh, wow. Yes,
mm,
that is a lot.
exactly.
On the flip side, though, just to like this sort of playing this devil's advocate here, is it not all necessary? Like we're saving lives.
Mm,
Do you get pushback like that? Like we're saving lives. Like how, what do we really? This is something we need to do too. But gosh, aren't there other areas that we can improve first? So tell
mm.
me a little bit about the why as well. Can you share a few things about that and you know sort of tell me the things that you were even surprised about when it came to the
Mm.
NICU's environment?
Absolutely. I think, the NICUs and intensive care, critical care areas in
Sure,
general have always kind of had, I guess, a remit to use what they needed to as much or as little, and generally it was in the as much category
sure.
of products and consumables and big piece equipment to get the work done to save
Mhm.
lives, just as you say. So I think it becomes interesting when you start to shine a light on what the energy requirement is of a NICU, what the number of consumables are that go through a NICU, and whether or not there is opportunity in that to do it better. So we can still
Mhm.
do the same work safely and not have to be, creating a huge carbon footprint in our wake. So I think that interestingly, there have been new pushes to look at a little bit more sustainability in procurement and in waste management, because some of those things have a financial impact. So larger organisations, healthcare organisations included, are starting to look at, are there better ways to do things financially, but that also don't impact the planet quite so much?
Mm-hmm.
And I think so as a result, there is a little bit more focus that has started to be on there. But the best thing to do, or the thing that kind of generated this for me and for people like me in this area, is simply looking at the sheer volume of products that we were consuming, literally, and
Right.
tossing out the other end. So I suppose the first thing that was alarming was when you do a bit of a waste audit and have a look at
Okay.
what you're actually putting out of the door
Yeah.
at the end of just one 24-hour period. And that can be extremely powerful. And then it's kind of information that you have that you can't ignore, because you know that that's every day. Every day you're
Mm,
putting out this kind of level of waste. And so going back to the beginning of that chain, looking at whether there are ways to do it better, and products to help us to do that better, but still maintaining the same quality of care and safety.
yeah, absolutely. So here's me. I'm going to push back again. I'm sure I'm not the first person who said this to you, but
No.
okay, here we are, Justine. Listen, it's very busy. I've got other priorities, other, aspects of care and management that seem to outweigh, this as a priority. So what is the if I'm selling it, if I'm going to upsell it to my team or to the teams, they're going to need something quick, easy, simple. You talked about maybe doing an audit. We're not talking about just throwing away our pop cans into a different recycle bag. This could be quite specific. We've got biohazards and things like that. So, what are a couple of simple things that you have sort of laid out for NICUs to start making, that they could do today to become more environmentally friendly?
I guess from our perspective, the way what we and where we began was
Mhm.
looking at priority areas. So gathering a group of people together to sit down and say, well, what are the biggest areas of concern with regards to
Mhm.
sustainability in the NICU? And our first concern was infant feeding equipment. So plastic baby bottles, the teats or nipples, the breast expressing equipment, all of that kind of area of
Right.
practice. And when we looked at that and discovered that just for our 44 beds here in Newcastle, we were um, producing over 100,000 plastic baby bottles and putting them straight into landfill. And I guess it's looking at that sheer volume kind of inspires
Right.
people to do something
Yeah.
differently and better. So I guess my advice to people who were embarking on this journey would be to prioritize and just do one thing and do it well,
Mhm.
before you move on to the next
Mhm.
project. And I think because otherwise you could be all consumed by
Sure.
the amount of work that there is to do.
Yeah, I can sense that that would be something that the pushback that you would get is it's just too much to take on. There's
Yep.
other priorities, et cetera, et cetera. So, start small, pick something, and something that is well known, outside of the NICU too, is a baby
Mm.
bottle,
Yeah.
is, pumping bags and things like that, those types of
Mm.
consumables. And those things are fairly, yeah, they're known in the community, right? When you're in perinatal health. So that's something that I think
Yes.
people could understand. Yeah, good job. I mean, it's a no-brainer when you think about it. You throw the numbers back at me and I'm like, "Oh, wow. Holy
Yep.
moly. How does that happen?"
Absolutely. And I think,
Right?
the interesting part was if you've never counted or you've never
Yeah.
looked, you just don't know. You have
Yeah.
no real concept, and it's kind of hidden over in the background where you can put it
Sure.
aside and continue on with your work, because we are doing life-saving
Yeah.
work, and we do need what we need to be able to do that. So, but there are opportunities in it, and I think that's
Yeah.
important. It's not all doom and gloom. There are things that you can do and changes you can make that are small, uh, And I mean, look, honestly, I'd be lying if I said it was easy. It's not easy.
Sure.
there's
Right. Not
there's
a lot of things aren't.
red tape, bureaucracy. Hospitals have management systems
Hmm.
and processes and things you have to navigate. But with the right people around you to and be dogged in your determination to make something better, you can get there.
Yeah, love that. I
Mm.
love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is inspiring, and when you start looking, you just have to look at one thing, and that, just throwing those numbers out there. We don't know what we don't know, but start small and bit and grow. I think that's the message
Yep.
that
That's the
you're definitely
advice.
giving me.
Yes.
um,
Yes.
so we were talking a little bit offline just now, and we sort of, saying that sometimes this can seem like it's so overwhelming, and there's this connotation of being doom and gloom, but that's not necessarily true. I mean, there's a lot of hope, and those small changes do make a difference. We've seen that, and otherwise there wouldn't be a business in this. We wouldn't be talking about this today. So
Mm.
really, I just want to ask you before I let you go, what gives you hope? Like what kept you going in this? Because now this has become your thing.
Mm.
And you're in it. And so tell me,
Yes.
yeah, tell me, what gives you
Yes.
hope? What inspires you? What keeps you going?
I guess that the things that give me hope are when you just devise a process to make it better and it works.
Mm,
And you are then seeing the outcome of all of that hard work. So, with regard to the plastic baby bottles, for example, being able to see those picked up, collected, on their way to processing to be made into other products, and then seeing those products come back to the hospital environment as retaining walls and garden
mm,
equipment and furniture and things like that. So at the moment, we are building a new building in the
mm,
hospital, and our plan is to incorporate some of those. Products that have been repurposed from plastic, hospital grade plastic, into things that we can use in that new build for the future to kind of close that loop as well. That
right.
yes, we're using it, we're buying it, and then we are having it recycled, but we want it back as well. We're happy to use it.
Mm,
We want to put it to use, and have that whole system as a circular economy kind of thing. Um, and so those things give you hope. Because you
right.
go, it can work, it really can.
Yeah.
Um, and if you put the work in, it can pay off.
Yeah.
Um, and don't get me wrong, there are many days where I just throw my hands up and go, it's so hard, it's too difficult, there's too much um, bureaucracy in the middle
Hmm.
of all of this. We don't have the right hand talking to the left on a lot of these issues. But yes, just getting one uh, program in place is
Right.
something enough to get
It's
you
a
to
win. Yeah.
continue on to the next
Yeah.
program
Yeah.
as well. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I love that.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much. This is going to be wonderful. And we should mention that you can all come and listen to this presentation with Justine
Yes.
Parsons. Yeah,
Mhm.
live at our Gold Neonatal Conference 2025. So not only Justine will be here live, but of course it will be recorded for your convenience. So if you can't make it to that day, but I will tell you, coming to the live, there's some bonuses because you can definitely chime in the conversation. There'll be a live Q&A with myself and Justine again. And I know that she really wants to take your questions. She wants to answer them so that how that you can start to make these changes as well. So again, the
Absolutely.
title for your presentation: Sustainability in the NICU, how green can we be? Thank you so much, Justine Parsons, for joining me here today. We'll look forward to seeing you very soon.
Thanks so much, Fiona.
And for all of you listening, just a quick reminder, head over to the website right now, goldneonatal.com, where you can register for this event and, of course, all the other great opportunities that we have on our Gold Neonatal site. Look forward to see you all soon. Bye bye for now.